How Singapore makes money from oil, even though it has none. Welcome to Facts USA and World. Today we'll uncover how a small island nation with no natural resources became one of the biggest oil hubs on the planet. This is Singapore, a country that doesn't produce a single drop of oil, yet earns billions by refining, storing, and trading it. 1. A small island with a big energy role. Singapore is tiny, smaller than most global cities. And it has no oil, no gas, no coal, not even much fresh water. And yet it's the third largest oil refining center in the world, right after the United States and China. Every day, Singapore refines over 1.3 million barrels of crude oil. 2. How it all started. The story began in the 1960s. After separating from Malaysia, Singapore was left with no resources, only ambition. Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew made a bold promise to global oil companies. You extract the oil. We'll build the perfect place to refine and sell it. Soon, Shell and ExxonMobil built the first refineries on Jurong Island. From that moment, Singapore became the energy heart of Southeast Asia. 3. An oil factory without oil. Singapore doesn't produce oil. It imports crude, refines it, and then exports the finished products: gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and petrochemicals. Over 70% of refined fuel is exported abroad. Its main customers are China, India, Indonesia, Australia, and Vietnam. So while other nations rely on raw exports, Singapore profits from processing and logistics. 4. The petrochemical empire of Jurong Island. The center of it all is Jurong Island, an artificial island connected to Singapore by a causeway. Here, more than 100 of the world's top energy and chemical companies operate, including Shell, ExxonMobil, BASF, Chevron, and Dow. On just 32 square kilometers, Jurong Island functions like a giant refinery city, where crude oil turns into plastic, rubber, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, and electronics. 5. An economy that runs on refining. The petrochemical industry now brings Singapore over $60 billion a year, as about 15% of its GDP. The key is value-added processing. Every barrel refined in Singapore generates double the profit of simply selling crude oil. 6. Location is everything. Singapore sits at one of the world's busiest maritime crossroads, between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific. Through the Strait of Malacca flows nearly 40% of all global seaborne oil trade. Almost every tanker stops in Singapore to refuel, blend, store, or trade. That made the country the energy port of Asia. 7. Asia's energy hub. Singapore isn't just a refinery, it's the trading brain of the region. It hosts massive oil storage terminals, more than 70 international trading firms, commodity exchanges and brokers, and banks that finance global energy deals. Every barrel of oil in Asia, at some point, passes through Singapore, physically or digitally. 8. Innovation instead of resources. To stay competitive, Singapore invests heavily in technology: automated oil terminals, digital trading platforms, robotics in refining operations, and a transition toward cleaner fuels like hydrogen and biofuels. On Jurong Island, companies are already building plants for sustainable aviation fuel, SAF, eco-friendly jet fuel for future aircraft. 9. From black gold to green growth. Singapore knows the world is moving beyond fossil fuels, and it's adapting fast. The country invests in carbon neutrality, solar energy, and hydrogen terminals, and operates Asia's first carbon credit trading platform. Oil remains profitable, but now it's managed under a new label: sustainable industry. 10. Why corporations choose Singapore. Total political stability. Low corporate tax rate, 17%. Modern logistics infrastructure. Transparent laws, and strong investor protection. A reputation for safety and efficiency. For global business, Singapore is the Switzerland of Asia, a place where energy can be safely refined, stored, and traded. That's why even US and Saudi companies base their Asian operations here. 11. Numbers that tell the story. 95% of oil used in Singapore is imported. 70% of refined products are exported. 1.3 million barrels refined daily. 10 of the world's largest oil companies operate on Jurong Island. Over 25,000 jobs in petrochemicals and energy. Without owning a single oil well, Singapore earns billions from other nations' oil. 12. In simple terms, Singapore doesn't dig for oil. It extracts profit from logistics, refining, and trade. It doesn't sell resources. It sells expertise, efficiency, and precision. Every barrel passing through Singapore leaves behind a golden trail of revenue. Conclusion. Singapore proved that even without natural resources, a nation can become an energy powerhouse. It turned oil from a commodity into a high-tech business. And while other countries fight over who owns the oil, Singapore simply profits from them all. Because in the modern world, Power doesn't belong to those who dig for oil, but to those who refine and move it.